If you have been eating raw onions every single day thinking you are already doing the smartest thing possible for your health, you are absolutely right. But there is one silent mistake almost every single person watching this video is making right now, and it is quietly cutting your results down to a fraction of what they should be. Not a small loss, not a minor detail. We are talking about the difference between 10% of the benefit and nearly all of it. And for the part of your body that depends most heavily on this molecule, your blood vessels, your circulation, your energy, and yes, your urinary and vascular vitality as you get older, that gap is enormous. The fatigue that hits you by mid-afternoon, the blood pressure reading that keeps creeping in the wrong direction, the nights where you are up more than once and your sleep never really finishes. I am Dr. Ryan Foster, and on this channel I break down real evidence-based health information in plain language. No fear, no fluff, no medical jargon you need a dictionary for. Just the truth about how your body actually works. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to add to your raw onions to multiply their effect by up to 10 times. And I'm going to give you 3 separate ways to use this today, including one specifically for urological and vascular health that almost nobody talks about. Stay with me all the way to the end, because that third method is the one people message me about the most once they try it. Let's start with the molecule that this entire video is built around: nitric oxide. Picture your blood vessels as a network of hoses running through your entire body. When those hoses are soft, flexible, and open, blood moves through them effortlessly. Oxygen and nutrients reach every organ without a fight. Your heart does not have to strain. Your brain gets what it needs to stay sharp. And for men and women both, but especially for men past a certain age, your prostate, your bladder, your urinary tract, and your overall vitality depend on this same molecule keeping those vessels relaxed and open. Nitric oxide is what keeps that hose flexible. Here's what almost nobody explains clearly. As you get older, your body's natural production of nitric oxide slows down significantly. By the time most people reach their 50s, that production can already be running at less than half of what it was in their 30s. That is not a rounding error. That is half of your vascular foundation quietly disappearing, and you feel it in ways that seem completely unrelated to each other. Energy that fades earlier in the day than it used to. Blood pressure numbers that keep drifting upward year after year. A urinary stream that has lost some of the strength it used to have. A sense of vitality that does not match how young you still feel mentally. These are not separate problems. They are almost all connected to the same underlying decline. Now here's the encouraging part, and I mean this genuinely. Your body can be taught to produce more nitric oxide again naturally through food, and one of the single best studied foods on the planet for this exact purpose is the raw onion. Inside a raw onion, you get 2 remarkable groups of compounds working at the same time. The first is quercetin, a powerful antioxidant concentrated in the layers of the onion. The second is a family of natural sulfur compounds, the same ones responsible for that sharp smell that makes your eyes water when you slice one. Together, these 2 compounds go directly to the lining of your blood vessels and switch on the system responsible for producing nitric oxide. This is not a trend. This is documented, peer-reviewed science sitting inside one of the cheapest vegetables you can buy at any market in the world. But here's where almost everyone, and I mean almost everyone, gets this completely wrong. This is the part of the video where most people would normally stop paying attention, and it is exactly the part you cannot afford to miss, because it is the entire reason your onion habit might not be working the way you think it is. If you had been eating raw onions consistently and still are not noticing the difference you expected, I'm about to tell you exactly why. The active compounds in raw onions, that quercetin and those sulfur molecules, share one critical property. They are fat-soluble. 2 words. Write them down if you need to, because everything in this video depends on understanding them. Think about what happens when you pour oil into a glass of water. They do not mix. The oil floats right on top no matter how long you stir it. Your digestive system treats these onion compounds exactly the same way. Without fat present at the same time, your gut cannot properly absorb them. They pass straight through your digestive tract and leave your body without ever reaching your bloodstream. Your blood vessels never receive the signal. Your nitric oxide production stays exactly where it was before you started eating onions at all. But introduce fat into that same bite, and the research becomes remarkable. Absorption of these compounds can jump by as much as 10 times. Not 10% better, 10 times better. For anyone starting from an already lower baseline because of age, that is not a small improvement. That is the entire difference between barely scratching the surface of the benefit and actually getting the results you were hoping for in the first place. Let me give you a picture that will stick with you. Imagine 2 people, both in their late 50s, both eating raw onions every single day, both believing they are doing exactly the same thing for their health. The first person eats their onions completely plain, exactly the way they always have. The second person makes one small change and adds a single tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil to every serving. 6 months pass. Same two people, same onion, same age, but only one of them wakes up with noticeably steadier energy, a blood pressure reading that has actually improved, fewer trips to the bathroom overnight, and a body that simply feels like it is working the way it is supposed to. The only variable that changed between them was 1 tablespoon of fat. Here is exactly what happens inside your body when you combine raw onion with a source of healthy fat, and I will keep this in plain language the whole way through. The moment this combination hits your small intestine, the fat wraps around the quercetin and sulfur compounds like a protective shell. Picture a delivery truck. Without that truck, these healing compounds are standing on the side of the road with nowhere to go. Nobody is picking them up. Nobody is delivering them anywhere. The fat is the truck, and it does 2 things at once. First, it slows these compounds down as they move through your intestine, giving your gut wall enough time to actually absorb them into your bloodstream instead of letting them pass by too quickly. Second, it physically enables that absorption in a way that simply does not happen without fat present at all. One without the other gives you half a system at best. Once these compounds finally reach your bloodstream, quercetin travels straight to the inner lining of your blood vessels, that microscopically thin layer that coats every single vessel in your body, including the ones feeding your prostate, your bladder, and the rest of your urinary and reproductive organs. There, it flips on a tiny built-in production system, like switching on a factory that has been sitting dormant for years. That factory begins manufacturing nitric oxide. At the same time, the sulfur compounds from the onion enter that same system through a completely separate pathway, boosting output from a second direction entirely. 2 pathways working together, producing one result that neither could achieve alone. And depending on which fat source you choose, you may get even more than just better absorption. High-quality extra virgin olive oil, for example, carries its own plant compounds that have been shown in independent research to support that same nitric oxide system on their own merits. So you are not just improving delivery, you are triggering production from 2 separate directions simultaneously. That is the actual synergy people are missing when they eat onions completely on their own. For your urinary and vascular system, specifically, more nitric oxide means better blood flow, reaching the prostate and bladder, healthier relaxation of the muscles lining your urinary tract, and the kind of vascular support your body relies on for genuine day-to-day vitality. This is not speculation. This is basic anatomy and physiology, finally getting the raw materials it needs to function the way it was designed to. Now let me give you 3 practical ways to use this combination, starting today. No special equipment, nothing expensive, just real food used correctly. The first method is the simplest and the most direct. Take half of a raw white or red onion and slice it thin, the way you put it on a sandwich. Drizzle 1 full tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil directly over the slices. Add a small pinch of sea salt. Let it sit for 5 minutes before eating. That 5-minute rest matters more than people realize, because it gives the oil time to fully coat the active compounds before your digestive system gets involved, so your body benefits from the very first bite. Eat this alongside breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever meal you already eat at roughly the same time every day. Attach it to a habit you already have, and it becomes automatic without any extra willpower required. The second method works well if raw onion is too sharp for your stomach on its own. Mince the onion very finely, almost into a soft paste. Combine it with extra virgin olive oil, a generous squeeze of fresh lemon juice, and a pinch of sea salt. The lemon is not just there for flavor. The vitamin C in fresh lemon juice actively supports the same nitric oxide producing system in your blood vessels, adding a 3rd layer of support on top of the onion and the oil. Spoon this over scrambled eggs in the morning, over grilled chicken or fish at dinner, or spread it across a slice of whole grain toast. It will keep in the refrigerator for about 2 days, which means you can prepare it once and have it ready without any extra effort on the mornings that matter most. Now here is the 3rd method, the one I promised you at the beginning, and the one specifically aimed at urological and vascular support. Take your raw onion, minced or thinly sliced, whichever you prefer, and combine it with extra virgin olive oil as before, but this time add a generous pinch of freshly cracked black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, and piperine has been studied specifically for its ability to increase the bioavailability of antioxidant compounds like quercetin even further, on top of what the fat is already doing. Think of the olive oil as the delivery truck, and the black pepper as clearing every red light along the route so that truck arrives faster and more of its cargo actually gets delivered. This combination onion, olive oil, and fresh cracked black pepper is the version I recommend most specifically when urinary and vascular support is the primary goal, because you are now working with 3 separate mechanisms firing at the same time instead of just 1 or 2. Here's what I want everyone watching this video to walk away with today. Your body's ability to produce nitric oxide is not something that simply disappears at a certain age and never comes back. It is not fixed. It responds directly and measurably to what you actually give it. And when you finally start giving it the right combination of foods working together the way they were designed to, the difference is not subtle. Better circulation, more consistent energy through the entire day. Fewer interruptions overnight. A stronger, steadier urinary stream, a level of vitality that maybe you had quietly assumed was behind you, but is not, and never really was. I've heard from people in their 60s and 70s who made this exact change. Nothing dramatic, nothing expensive, just 1 tablespoon of the right fat added to a food they were already eating, and told me they felt more like themselves within a matter of weeks. People deserve honest, practical information about how their own bodies work. Not fear, not complexity, not another supplement to buy. Just the truth about what your biology actually needs and the simplest possible way to give it to that. Never eat your raw onions alone again. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, a squeeze of lemon when you want it, and a pinch of black pepper when urological and vascular support is the priority. That is the entire message. Small change, real biology, meaningful results if you stay consistent with it. If this video gave you something useful today, take 2 seconds and tap the like button. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who need to hear it. Subscribe to this channel so you do not miss the next video, and leave a comment right now telling me which of these 3 methods you are going to try first. I read every comment, and hearing from people all over the world who are actually making these changes is exactly why I keep making these videos. This video is for educational purposes only. The information shared here does not constitute medical advice, and is not a substitute for professional medical guidance, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your physician or a qualified specialist before making significant changes to your diet, especially if you have an existing cardiovascular condition, a diagnosed urological condition, or if you are currently taking prescription medication. Before you go, there is a video right on your screen right now that I want you to watch next. It is the one people tell me changed how they felt day to day more than any other video on this channel. Watch it now. Your future self will be glad you did.